I'm going to make this about as short and sweet as I possibly can. My first commentary was supposed to be a video that's multiple years old and 3 hours long, and even for the time, gets facts blatantly wrong. Of course, then I realized that was kind of stupid, so now I'm going the easy route by jumping on the SereousGamer33 bandwagon. Which doesn't really exist, because it's mostly just two douchebags shooting spitballs at each other from across the classroom, one of whom is doing it as a joke, and one of whom wishes he could pull out a gun instead. The guy I'm commentating on, he's the one who wants the gun. But instead, he's gonna get the Boon Cannon. Shut up, that's the name, that's what I'm going with. Also, my avatar is Diddy Kong, because I don't feel like getting out my camera for this bullcrap.
My God, my God, my God.
No, my God!
This has got to be the worst video you have ever put out, man. You know, I thought you were a good commentator. I really did. But with this complete disregard for logic, humor, and non-monotone speaking voices.
Oh yeah, that's right. So the other guy in this debate is Ryan Rhino Mills, who's fairly well known and is even partially credited with the revival of commentaries on his TV Tropes page. And he has a troll account that's basically his name misspelled, but the character he plays is just called Rorm. Spoiler warning, Ryan does the commentary that this guy's doing a commentary on entirely in the Rorm character that Mr. Gamer, if that is your real name, described. Spoiler warning, Serious takes it seriously. Why'd I put 2 spoiler warnings in there? That's stupid. You may have already noticed that the speech only comes from the left side of your speakers or headphones. I left this unedited so that people would be able to hear it and, more importantly, point out that he has a technical coordinator that can't get the audio right. Come on, man, really? Something else worth noting at the beginning of this. Notice the play button that shows up when he starts Ryan's commentary? That indicates that he recorded the original commentary off of some kind of screen recorder. Well, the quality's fine, so I'll admit that this is a bit of a nitpick, but it would save you time that you could be using improving your script if you just use a third-party video downloader.
Hello, my name is Ryan Rhino Mills. I say it because you're a homosexual. For this video, I will once again be covering SereousGamer33, or as he likes to pronounce it, SereousGamer, because he's...
Actually, if you actually watch my later videos, I think you would know that I have been saying it as SereousGamer33. And by the way, I was like way younger when I made it.
First of all, way to cut your footage in the middle of Rhino's sentence. It makes it sound like he's about to say something important. I know he's not because I watched the original video, but still, it looks bad on your part. Second, the video where you correct him is from 2 months ago. Way younger, am I right?
And I'm kind of not a genius, so don't tell me that you wouldn't spell something wrong sometimes, Mr. Ryan.
That's just the way his name is spelled. Unless he's lying about the way his name is spelled. He could be lying, granted. Point is, a very simple Google search proved that Ryan is actually an Irish name. And in fact that there's someone who was on the X Factor who has their name spelled that way. Do you know how to use the Google?
He's a freaking homosexual. And by the way, I don't have anything against homosexuals. It's just a very well-known fact that gay people don't like spelling serious correctly. Now,
What? Was there any logic to that comment at all?
Yes, that logic is called joke.
Okay, what is up with this intro? First of all, why purple trombone? 2, why the random images?
I don't know why the random images in your intro that's basically a slideshow.
Daddy, what's a hypocrisy? Serial guy is the judge.
Oh, hooray, your first comment and it makes no sense. Beautiful. Beautiful. You're really using that time of making scripts to your advantage, Ryan. If only you could put emotion into
Okay,
it.
guys, time for swim practice.
My comment here is once again towards your shitty technical director. Can the two audio tracks not overlap each other like that when going between scenes? I mean, it's not like this is an actual movie or something else where there would be a good reason to actually have an audio transition, especially when there's no visual transition to go with it.
I don't even like jazz music.
My God, you're so stupid. God, that's not jazz music.
Yes, that's obviously Brazilian polka trance step. Daddy, what's a joke?
I can do that too.
Hey, guys. Hooray, you know how to manipulate Movie Maker to make an image spin around. I can do that too.
Spin party! Spin party! Spin party! Spin party!
Guys, you won't believe it.
I don't believe you.
I finally got more 5-hour energy from that merchant in Sudan.
I still don't believe you.
Thank God I caught him before he got on the plane.
A plane going straight into a building.
Oh my God, why does every video on you or me have to mention some kind of gigantic death? Anyway.
Because 9/11?
Something that I hate to do something that I also hate.
The War of 1812.
You know, I've really noticed a trend when you do commentaries on me. You're obviously not taking me seriously.
You know, I can think of some reasons that he's not taking you seriously, but I'll save that for closing thoughts.
Your hate brings all the boys to the yard. Captain Picard, Alucard, credit card, security guard, boulevard, and
Steven! Just repeat the last comment. I literally have nothing else to say. Repeat it.
If you had nothing to say, and really, truly had nothing to say, why didn't you just skip that part? Again, somewhat minor thing since it was only like 10 seconds of my life wasted, but what are you gonna do? Make a response commentary directed towards me next? Ooh, I'm so scared. I'm shaking in my butt.
Anyway, let's go looking around for some new stuff to commentate on. Ooh, a new Ryan Randall Mills commentary. Wait, does that say what I think it says?
it says history.
So that's gonna be great. I have to do another commentary on Ryan Randall Mills because he did a commentary on me, and if you don't do a commentary on a dude who did a commentary on you, you're just saying he won, and I've obviously won.
This is the worst boxing match. There isn't even Mike Tyson.
Well, you know what would have actually been a good comment? The stutter on your name in that clip.
You know what else would have been a good comment? The fact that you played way too much of the original clip before you had anything to say, more so than would be necessary to give context. That's another 10 seconds of my time wasted! I know I implied that it wasn't that much time, but these things add up, you know.
Dude, you have an ego problem. Oh, very, very, very well said, mein friend.
This was incredibly pointless. It was just you agreeing with yourself in a manner that makes me think that you're romantically interested in your mirror.
Because I'm the most awesome person ever, and I'm the most nice guy. No.
Yes.
No. Just no.
Yes.
No. Now, can you stop inflating yourself?
No.
Yes, please, good sir.
You know, if your editing wasn't so sloppy, then this might be a little funny, but still very, very pointless. Last part, though, you're still kind of dating your reflection there, buddy.
Oh, I see Mr. T. Plumber has entered the fray.
I remember the fray.
Fray is a literary term. I think you would know this being 17.
I think you meant that the word fray is an actual word? Also, Daddy, what's a joke? Oh, and as an added bonus, I'm gonna respond to the point that Rhino didn't feel the need to address at all.
My right ear really enjoys this video.
You know, I hear scientists found a remedy for that. Oh, hey, let me just look up the dictionary here. It's to turn your volume up!
No, you're wrong. The point of that statement was the fact that your audio balance is way off. It's still way off.
I am making fun of cancer. The zodiac sign. I mean, screw crabs, am I right?
Really? I never knew that somebody who was a douchebag could also be a liar.
Daddy, what's a joke?
How?
Seriously, you were making fun of the disease cancer.
Cancer is a diagnosis.
According to the actual Doodle page on cancer, cancer is a disease in which abdominal cells divide uncontrollably and destroy body tissue. Disease.
While this is true, are you aware that diseases are also, oh, I don't know, diagnosed? Also, Daddy, when can I stop making this stupid joke?
Being deliberately stupid, that kind of sours the fact that you're an okay commentator.
That's weird. The expiration date on here says it's supposed to last for another 3 years. They lied to me!
Actually, I think you were just looking at your stupid joke bottle.
Why are we discussing milk prices?
What? Just what? All I can say is what?
That's weird. You somehow don't understand a metaphor that you're participating in. Unless, of course, you were only pretending to not get the joke. But based on my running gag in this episode, I doubt it.
I may not have broken a TV, but I broke a painting.
You did what?
One, screw you again. You're not my father.
It's my head cannon.
He just tell me that in his head canon, he is my father. No.
What are we yelling about again?
So that's the end of what I can't call a commentary. What did I think of it? It was stupid. You were stupid. Those guys in the video were stupid, but had some better points than you, and I hated it. All too true, my friend. So that's the end of another Ryan commentary. What did I think of it? Again, all too true.
Dude, seriously, are you engaged to that mirror or something? Because you're flirting with yourself so hard right now.
And there's your next Ryan Rhino Mills commentary. How is it? It's stupid. He uses a monotone voice the whole time. And yeah, hate is kind of a soft word. Despise is much better. Anyway, goodbye.
Thank God that's over. Okay, now my thoughts on really the whole situation going on here. Dude, you're taking the entire situation way too seriously. Ryan's obviously trolling you, and you could have done one of two things that would have made you look much better. First thing was that you could have simply, I don't know, trolled him back, which would have made for an entertaining video at the very least. And the second would have been to, I don't know, just say you're not going to keep squabbling with an obvious troll, or even not really talk about it further. And I know exactly why you didn't do either one of those things. You're a downright tryhard. You didn't really have anything to debunk in this video, and yet you still tried to debunk everything about it. Word of advice, don't take yourself so seriously. And be willing to be wrong every once in a while. The smartest people are the people who know when they've been proven wrong. And the smartest people are also the ones who know when there's no reason to respond to someone who's being that dumb. Come on, man. SereousGamer33. I covered him in my first commentary. Links in the description. And yeah, some people think he's a troll, but let's just say whether he is or not is pretty easy to call into question. He begged for a reaction when he did a commentary on me, and thus I didn't give it to him. So now he politely requested that I commentate on his latest video on Star Wars so he can know how well he did. Remember that when you do a commentary on this, Justin. I know your policy on responses. Let's get started. Okay, I would talk about how your intro looks, but Darth Yoda! Darth Yoda! Keep in mind that according to you, you're supposed to be crediting this guy for paying for your shit. You spell his name correctly later on. We'll get to what's wrong with that segment. So why is it misspelled here, of all places? It's not like typing a letter into the title that appears on screen is a huge freaking hassle either. Anyway, like I was saying, your intro is much better than it used to be. Shorter, definitely better than your sock cohorts, and that you appear to at the very least choose a different font for your titles and do enough timing with your clips to at least reach the levels of low-tier anime music videos. So, good job on improving yourself. There's still some issues, but nothing worth talking about. Except, of course, for the logos on one of your clips.
Question. Why is this relevant? More importantly, why should I give a shit?
It'll be clear what I'm going for with that in a moment. I'm gonna skip over the rest of your intro, by the way. My audience doesn't come for your video.
I got time for your bullshit.
What's up, everybody? My name is Immortal Speed HD, and this is my very first commentary. So yeah, I'm doing it on Carbonic. Let's do this.
What is that avatar? Oh my god. You know what it looks like? You know what it looks like? It looks like a ponification of the Ender Dragon. If you want to be the Ender Dragon, be the Ender Dragon. Don't do this, man. This is like the worst thing you can do in terms of avatar.
First of all, no. You don't get to judge an avatar based on what character is being used. You can judge the quality of the artwork, fine. But to say that they're bad for using an avatar of a character you don't like is, well, stupid, to use one of your favorite words. In fact, I could just blindly say the same thing about Jasper. Second, you say this immediately before using a picture of your avatar, Jasper, in Saiyan armor. And for that matter, you also showed a picture of a fan-made Yu-Gi-Oh card depicting the character right after the intro. Now, you could make the subjective point that at least it's not MLP, except for the fact that you also use a pony version of Jasper in this commentary yourself. In other words, why don't you just use Jasper if you think that's how avatars should be done?
Also, that image has the DeviantArt logo in it. I've noticed that a couple of times with people who use images off the internet.
Your intro has footage with a Bandicam watermark and a website logo on it. I've noticed this with people that use footage off the internet. Hey, don't get on to me, it's a lot more visible than that logo on Immortal Speed's video. It's true that this doesn't make you wrong, but it is worth noting that your complaint also applies to yourself.
Hello everybody, this is Carbonic, and I just came back from watching Star Wars The Force Awakens. Now, originally I planned on making a normal review of this. I have decided after watching the movie, I would instead just kind of talk about it, and talk about exactly why I really did not like it, and...
How dare you say you do not like the new Star Wars movie?
You know, there are free programs that can give you a demon voice. You don't need to act like you know how to do that, especially with your teenager cracks randomly voice. You really should think about these things before randomly doing a horrible, horrible, horrible commentary.
Ooh, so close to a good point. I wasn't even willing to give you credit with the demon voice being bad, although I didn't hear any voice cracking or anything, and it would have been much better with the use of free software that failed to mention by name in the video, which would have actually been super helpful. But then you have to be super edgy and just say that the commentary was horrible, when all you've brought up is the avatar and a subjective point about someone's acting. It's not entertaining. It just makes you come across as overly mean. And if that was supposed to be a joke, work on the delivery, because it sounded absolutely nothing like one.
Why I believe it is actually one of the worst Star Wars movies to come out, and is worse than the prequels.
So yeah, a few scenes in the prequels were kinda crappy, but other than that, they were pretty good, and the new movie was actually really good itself, too.
Okay, let's see. How many scenes have Jar Jar in them? How many scenes have Anakin in them? And yeah, there's way more wrong with this than just a couple of scenes. Also, the line, from my point of view, the Jedi are evil. Yeah, he says that right after killing a bunch of kids. Yeah, that's like way more than a few scenes of wrong there.
How dare they say they felt like the prequels were good? Okay, sure, Jar Jar, an inherently bad character. If a better written character were put into Jar Jar's place in the plot, then the prequels would have been much better. But was Anakin really inherently a bad character? I mean, you do know that the prequels are about his path to the dark side, right? Come to think of it, that makes your example of a bad scene, which by the way also happens to be the reviewer's example later in the review, pointless. Because it shows Anakin's morality becoming twisted, which is the point. I can't believe I just defended something in the prequels. What the fuck is wrong with me?
Ain't got time for your bullshit.
Start out by saying my biggest complaint with this movie is that it is just A New Hope redone with bigger stuff.
Okay, what? No. It is not New Hope. A New Hope was worse than this.
Huh. You know, I seem to remember in one of our other commentaries that, yeah, New Hope was actually rated better by critics than Episode 7. Albeit by 2%, but 2% still more percent. Do research for once, please.
In my opinion.
Please watch videos before you commentate on them for once, please!
But it was still pretty good. I will say that, but this is not New Hope.
Dude, even fans of this movie that say that this is going to be like the greatest movie ever still think this is New Hope. I think you would know that.
You're co-op with Mav Station, where you insist that The Force Awakens isn't similar to A New Hope. Links in the description. Marshall Henshaw re-upload. You're welcome.
Ain't got time for your bullshit.
Well, where is it? I'm not gonna show you. That's essentially what this movie is, like, all throughout. So there's this part where it's revealed that the new whatever the fuck they were called.
Okay, it's the New Republic, you loser. Please stop.
You realize he was already grasping on the concept of New Republic right before he just said he didn't care, right? I mean, you actually watched this video, like, more than once, right?
Funny, I could say the same to you. Here's what Carbonic said literally right after that interjection.
The bad guys.
So, no, it's not the New Republic. It's the First Order. You know, there's not watching the video more than once, and then there's doing the commentary as you go along, as you appear to be doing.
And pay attention next time to the next movie when it comes out like 2 years from now. I mean, really. Come on, man.
Hey, maybe you should do the same and pay attention to the video. Because I already explained why you should have paid attention.
This is gonna bite him in the ass later. Hell, he even knows it's gonna bite him in the ass later.
They built like this Death Star thing, but it's the size of a planet, and they do exactly the same thing that the Death Star did, except they destroyed 5 planets at once.
The newer version of the Death Star is better than the older version, but the way that it looks is slightly less better than the older one. I personally liked the older one because of the fact that it was so just menacing. The newer one looks more kind of wimpy, like you're trying to sneak past the enemy so that you can sneak attack them because of the fact that it's built into a planet. The other one was just like, yo, we're coming to get you. Get ready for a fight. But yeah, it is slightly better because it destroys 5 planets and destroys suns, so yeah, it's better.
First, yeah, totally menacing. A giant red basketball with an air pocket in it is totally menacing. 2, John's trying to be freaking incognito because, you know, the First Order probably doesn't have the, strength to take on the full Republic might when they already know that, they're, like, going to kill you. And 3, that's not that cool. It's just a giant ball in space. That's all it is. The Star Killer is like, oh my god, they destroyed a planet to make this. Oh my god.
You've been taking a bit too long, Booney. Better speak up before I get bored of this movie.
I was about to. It's not my fault this interjection took longer than the others for even Serious to finish, okay? I fast-forwarded and everything. The sad thing is I couldn't skip any of this, because I needed to show the original review to point out that nothing either one of you are saying is relevant, since he's talking about how similar what the bad guys do is to A New Hope. How cool the damn thing looks has nothing to do with what Carbonic is even saying. So can we get back on topic now instead of wasting time? I'm not sure if you can tell, but I really don't have the time to waste.
And when they destroy these 5 planets, it shows all the civilians of that planet just being like, oh no, we're all gonna die. It's just that one scene from the first Star Wars film where the Death Star blows up Leia's planet, and she's like, oh no, but like done with like a 20 times bigger Death Star and with 5 planets instead, just to up the destruction.
Present Star Wars explosions.
No! Fuck off with your nostalgic critic bullshit! I don't even give a shit that this clip hasn't had a chance to be overused yet. Get your own jokes, you bottle of Fago brand cola!
Then later on, we've got Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren really fucking pisses me off because
Kylo is the coolest villain I've seen in this trilogy so far. So yeah, you can't be hating on him.
Okay, fine. I will agree that Kylo is a pretty cool villain, but I will sit to my guns and say, what is that picture? Why would you ever choose that picture when looking for Avatar material?
Because it's relevant to the interjection. Oh, but let me allow you to finish questioning the relevance of a fucking Avatar picture.
It's not a ponification of the Interdragon, so why is it here?
Pony feet, pony arms, unicorn horn, purple hair even though it's actually Twilight Sparkle's hair. It's a ponification of Kylo Ren that looks somewhat like a ponification of the Ender Dragon cosplaying as Kylo Ren. I even agree with you that it's not the best choice, but come on man, at least understand the purpose of using that Avatar picture. Which, by the way, is totally worth an entire interjection to point out.
The way that they depicted him in the trailer was that he was going to be like a really cool villain, kind of like in the way that Darth Vader was. But he's really not. He's not cool at all. He's, I guess, spoiler, he's the son of Leia and Han Solo. He's wearing this mask. I think he's wearing this mask for a reason, like how Darth Vader needed it. But then he just, like, takes it off when he doesn't need to, and he's just a guy. He's just a loser.
You're a loser. And the reason Kylo even has the mask is just for, you know, added effects and drama, because his life sucks, you know?
Does that really excuse the fact that it's kind of a no-reason mask?
Okay, you stop. Stop right fucking there. Whether you want to use the expanded universe or not as part of your argument, it's pretty clear that this guy wants to be as powerful as Darth Vader was, and thus wants to do as much as possible to put himself in the mind of Darth Vader. For example, the scene where he gets up from a chair and we see the dilapidated mask of Darth Vader right behind his head, showing that this is the vision he has for himself. The reason for the mask is as a symbol of respect and devotion. Oh, and as for how your life could suck if you can use a lightsaber, why don't you ask Finn that question? He seems to have a pretty hard time of things. He can use a lightsaber. Rey too, for that matter.
Ain't got time for your bullshit.
First of all, major spoiler alert, Han Solo dies at about halfway through the movie, and Kylo Ren kills him.
Actually, I just wanted to let you know, and if you're watching this commentary on your thing, and for all the people out there, Kylo Ren did not kill Han. Han actually pressed the button of Kylo's lightsaber so that Kylo wouldn't have to deal with the stress of him killing his own father.
Did you do any research? Did you really? I'm guessing that you thought that little embrace where Han Solo and Kylo Ren are trying to make sure that Han does not get stabbed, because Han is trying to make sure that he doesn't get stabbed by this man who's gone off the deep end. You realize that if Kylo Ren didn't kill Han Solo, it would have been all pointless. All completely pointless. And your example of, oh, we want to spare him the problems? No! Han Solo realizes that he is way far gone to ever come back to light. And Kylo Ren knows this, he knows this, and just does it. He kills Han Solo with his lightsaber. He kills his own father. It's not about saving him from the emotional turmoil. He doesn't have any emotional turmoil. He doesn't.
Wow. I don't even agree with Immortal's interpretation, but I at least recognize it as a potential interpretation, even if it's highly unlikely to be true. First of all, Han actually killing himself doesn't take away from the point of the scene, especially since we wouldn't know this to be the case at this point in the franchise, and in fact may never know for sure unless it becomes a crucial character development point for Kylo Ren, possibly leading towards his redemption in later films. You know, like Darth Vader had. Second, if Han realizes that Kylo is too far gone to ever come back, why'd he spend the entire scene trying to talk Kylo Ren into leaving the First Order? Your interpretation now makes the whole rest of the scene pointless. Finally, Kylo Ren doesn't have emotional turmoil? Then why does he damn near break down in tears before doing it? You can certainly argue that he could have been faking it, but at least be willing to admit that he may have legitimately been questioning whether or not to kill his father as Snoke wished.
Ain't got time for your bullshit.
Up to this point, Kylo Ren has been just a loser. He sucks.
We get it. You hate Kylo. Stop hating on him already. It's getting annoying, okay?
And
I know that related to my earlier videos, I'm probably being a total hypocrite, but it really gets annoying when these people are always doing this stuff after the fact and trying to change stuff that they know can't change in the video. Again, probably totally being hypocritical here, but I'm admitting it. I'm hoping that'll, like, you know, set something straight that I get it. You shouldn't do that.
If you really understood it, then you wouldn't have done it in this video.
Hey, maybe you should do the same and pay attention to the video. Because I already explained why you should have paid attention.
Yeah, that sounds like you making a pot shot at the video for having already been corrected by you. Huh. That's weird.
Ain't got time for your bullshit.
He looks kind of like a mixture of, like if you smashed Snape and Benedict Cumberbatch together to make this ungodly fusion that is Kylo Ren's stupid fucking foot face. He looks like a foot with facial features and an emo haircut.
You have a foot face. And who the heck is Benedict Cumberbatch? I've never heard of him. I've heard of Snape, but who the heck is Benedict Cumberbatch? Please tell us. We don't know him.
That was really just said? That was really just said? You, not we, don't know who Benedict Cumberbatch is. Let's see, what has Benedict Cumberbatch been in recently? Oh, I don't know. Maybe being Smaug from The Hobbit.
Okay, you have a point, but first, are you really judging a clearly younger kid for not knowing who Benedict Cumberbatch is? But you're right, he's pretty well known as Smaug, which is a voice role and thus not a role where he shows his face. I can think of lots of examples of Benedict Cumberbatch in film and television that people would recognize his appearance in, like Sherlock. But people aren't going to know what he looks like from his performance as Smaug.
Ain't got time for your bullshit.
Another problem I had was with the main character Finn. One of the main characters he's an ex-stormtrooper who is in fact a clone.
Actually, if you take a look at the cast of the new movie, and you look at all the stormtroopers or whatever, they are not clones. They are individual people that were recruited, basically.
Okay, one, the cast has nothing to do with this. You could have just said they're not clones. Second, I don't call Nazi-ish brainwashing recruiting. I don't call that recruiting. I call that brainwashing. These guys did not want to be stormtroopers from birth.
Hey, guess what? I don't give a fuck what you call it. Because Merriam-Webster does not define methods of recruitment as not being recruitment. If you brainwash someone into doing what you want, then you still have to recruit them to be a subject of the brainwashing. Doesn't matter how they did it. Be it by kidnapping or parental volunteering, the fact that they aren't clones mean that they had to be recruited by some means, be it consensual or not.
Did someone say consensual? Why is your pocket dimension on fire?
I'm doing a commentary.
I'll come back later.
Anyway, on top of that, you do realize that the word cast also means the characters within a work and not just the actors who play those characters, right? True, the cast of characters is normally indicated by saying cast of characters, but that doesn't make Immortal objectively wrong here.
Ain't got time for your bullshit.
In one of the very first scenes of the movie, he is, along with his troop, ordered to kill a whole bunch of civilians in this one place they were storming. He's just like, I just can't. First of all, stormtroopers are like highly trained official people. It's not like they're first time people who are gonna have like doubts about killing people. They're like trained. They're trained. Second of all, he is cloned.
Again, not a clone, and yes, they would have doubts because they were normal people that were recruited to the First Order, okay?
He is...
If you can repeat your points, I can repeat my point.
Nope!
Ain't got time for your bullshit.
Are you, like, that dumb? Are you really? Because even if something so amazingly crazy and out of nowhere happened to change the orbit of Hoth, to turn it from subarctic wasteland to desert wasteland, happened, they wouldn't rename the frickin' planet. There's no reason in any outer universe or in-universe canon that Hoth is now Jakku. There's nothing to suggest this. Where did you get your research?
Anybody else notice how completely random his avatar picture changes are? They don't exactly line up with breaks in his speech or anything. It's not like timing like that is impossible in Windows Movie Maker, if that's what he uses. Sorry, I'm just bored. The fuck do you expect? Sereous isn't exactly known for cutting out footage when he needs to cut out footage, and the original video is even worse about it.
Ain't got time for your bullshit.
There's no explanation for why this AT-AT is there.
because it used to be Hoth.
Okay, one, it's not the Battle of Hoth. It would never be the Battle of Hoth, because it's not Hoth. It's not. Two, just because there's an AT-AT does not mean that it was the Battle of Hoth. AT-ATs are a standard military craft for the Empire.
And three, it is very well explained in the Battle of Jakku, in the game, Star Wars Battlefront, that this all happened in that battle, including the Star Destroyer.
Okay, time to go ahead and debunk something from Mav's commentary on the subject that I decided not to do a commentary on. I assume that you're debunking the original reviewer with this, since you already very clearly repeated your point on Immortal, who said nothing else on the matter. Either way, this is worth saying, considering I've seen this tactic multiple times when it comes to Star Wars fans feeling the need to defend the movie from criticism about not explaining things. Supplemental material should not be required in order to make a movie well understood. I do not agree with Carbonic's interpretations, since, as you said, the wreckage found on Jakku is a standard issue Imperial weaponry, the Millennium Falcon because plot, but I'm at least willing to let him think of it as an awfully neat convenience to set up the visual presented on Jakku, as it appears to be in the movie.
Ain't got time for your bullshit.
Like the scene where Han and the other main characters, they capture this like stormtrooper leader.
The stormtrooper's name is Captain Phasma. She's a girl, by the way. And she's pretty cool.
Like,
You know, it's not like by not remembering her name, he was making a commentary on how, like, not cool Phasma is. I mean, yeah, she's pretty cool with that, like, chrome thing or whatever. But really, you had no reason to do that, because the only reason that he forgot the name was because this is live. Or at least, like, non-scripted. So you can't really, like, criticize that. That's not cool, bro.
That comment sounded less critical than it was informative. You are aware that an interjection doesn't have to be a harsh critique and can just be the addition of information that the original video's creator may have missed, right? But let's just assume that it was intended to be a mark against the video. Yes, you can criticize a video for being unscripted if it's done poorly, which it's not in this case, but I digress. Saying the argument is invalid because it's against an unscripted video is, in fact, an invalid argument.
just doesn't even fit with the whole like Star Wars vibe, because Star Wars
is wars with lasers in space.
Star Wars is not just wars in space. It's a much more complicated story than your childish view of it.
That was a joke. That was so obviously a joke! The tone of voice was even different from the more serious points that were being given. But let's delve into the mind of Justin H. and take this point seriously for a moment. Alright. When did Immortal ever say that that's the only thing that Star Wars is?
Ain't got time for your bullshit.
With all of the drama that happens and stuff, it's still like an overall humorous and fun movie that I would show to younger audiences. I wouldn't show this to younger audiences, not because it's like particularly extremely violent or anything, just it's just bad, and it has no good moral dilemmas. There's no real reason that anyone does anything.
It's Star Wars. I don't think it should have a moral or anything, because it's meant to be a cool, action-packed, hyped-up kind of movie that's fun to watch, you know?
For this one, I want to get a second opinion. Let's see who's around.
Star Wars has always had a moral. In the beginning, back in the 70s, it was very easy, good and bad. You know, heroes triumph over evil, the Empire's bad, the rebels are good. In a 21st century movie, it's not quite so cut and dried. It's a little ambiguous sometimes. Heroes have moral dilemmas. Villains have moments of indecision. That's because in the modern era, it's more realistic for these things to happen. But they're still moral. It's still good triumphs over evil.
Wow, that's a really good point you made there. Or should I say a really good point that your technical coordinator made? Why seriously did you need Darth Yoda to make this point for you? Is it because it doesn't fit your persona? Is it because he came up with it and you wanted to give him credit? This might come off as hypocritical, but I don't get why you randomly have an entirely different person give your point. I mean, you don't see Superfire making my points for me, right, Superfire?
What? Oh, yeah, right, the commentary. Better pick up the pace or I'll bake you in a pie like blueberries.
Oh, please, that line was weak.
Yo, shut the fuck up. This ain't no music review. This ain't your show.
Fine, whatever. If you'll excuse me, I'm gonna be over here listening to Radiohead. God, what a fucking tool.
I'll listen to them too, asshole.
Look, I just don't think I can do this commentary anymore. You know, other than the fact that I'd just either be repeating myself, agreeing with Serious, or bashing my head in with a blender for the next 10 fucking minutes! Okay, fuck it. Final thoughts. First of all, real talk. Cut down the original video somewhat. You've got a number of repetitive points,
although not as many as you used to have and not as many as I've seen other people have, and you really could do with just cutting shit down. If you did that, you wouldn't have to stretch for points as much either, as it seems like you wind up doing sometimes. You've clearly gotten better since the last time I commentated on you, which indicates to me that you are likely not a troll, as you are listening to criticism. I didn't find your edge all that funny. The thing about insult comedy is you need to be comedic as well as insulting, not just insulting, and that's something that you, along with most of SOC for that matter, seem to miss. You did a better job doing your homework with this video, although that could be attributed to the fact that you already know the subject distantly, but I digress. It's definitely a good thing. However, there's a few major factors that I want to address. First, now that you're doing your homework, work on the logical thinking part of doing these videos. Second, if you used any humor in this video, I couldn't tell. If you did, try to work on your acting chops so I can tell what you're going for. And if not, work on adding some more entertainment factor to your videos, because I was bored out of my fucking mind. Final thing is, I'll be honest, I found a few points where you still get debunked by the original video right after your interjection. That shit has got to go. Write your script and make sure that they don't immediately give clarification that makes your argument invalid. So, Serious, you wanted me to do this calm, and you got it. On top of that, you got tons of advice. More advice than I normally give. So let's just see how well you take criticism that serves the dual purpose of entertaining an audience. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce SereousGamer33.
That's a weird way to pronounce Ario Speedwagon.
I've covered this guy twice already. What else could I possibly have to say about it?
Hey, you done introducing the commentary? I've got this, like, laser thing, and I really want to fire this laser thing. It'll be badass and shit, mate.
Okay, fine. Let's just get this over with.
But seriously, why aren't you talking about JoJo right now?
Okay, tell me something. Dick Sponge, what is your appeal? I sure as hell couldn't see it, but I also can't see the appeal of Trump, the Alt-CC, or the Communist Party, so what do I know? Anyway, those 3 examples are the theme for today. I'm going to do 3 videos of Dick Sponge to show criticism, and maybe explain this person to myself.
Spoiler, Trump, the Alt-CC, nor communism actually come up during the rest of this video. The only way these 3 things are even relevant to the video is that there's 3 of them. I mean, by that logic, that was 100% related to this commentary and wasn't there solely for entertainment. I'm gonna skip over the intro this time because you fixed the things that were legit problems that aren't solved by just telling you to get better editing software, and something tells me even if I did tell you about free software that's better, you might not be interested in relearning your process anyway. And it's not a huge deal anyway, so whatever.
Okay, sure, these are nitpicks, but really, these text walls are all we have for an intro, so it is fair game.
Oh, you are one to talk, buddy. Okay, you told us the name of the user you're covering before your intro graphic, but we knew literally nothing else about Dick Sponge during the rest of the video, nor do we learn anything about the context behind the other videos you're covering. Hypocrisy doesn't make him wrong. I mean, in this case it does, though. He's saying that Dick Sponge is giving minimal introduction when he gave no more introduction himself. In fact, Dick Sponge gave more introduction by explaining that it was my non-commentary work he wanted to tackle. The only real difference is that Dick Sponge's introduction is through text, and, as I'll elaborate on in a moment, there's actually a stylistic reason for that. So, allow me to give the introduction that you were unwilling to give. The first video you're covering is Dick Sponge's commentary on one of my music reviews. Specifically, my review of Black Beatles by Ray Shremmerd featuring Gucci Mane. I agreed with the criticism presented, but I will say that there were 1 or 2 things I didn't agree with that I'll mention during this video, because I'll likely never cover this video otherwise. So now that at least my audience has the context, even though my audience actually is the least likely to need any explanation of the subject matter, please, continue. You know, this video is probably going to get confusing for anyone who's playing this in the background.
If some of his works need practice, Why do you sound like a dick who just wants him dead throughout the whole video? You don't change from your normal, constant anger voice to, I don't know, a voice that doesn't sound like you hate his guts?
What? First of all, entertainment value. He wants to entertain his audience, and thus a more over-the-top reaction can create that entertainment value. Considering you've used this same tactic yourself in the past, I would think that you would know this.
But Boon, hypocrisy doesn't.
Shut the fuck up! You and I both know that the point wasn't the goddamn hypocrisy. It was that he should know what Dick Sponge is doing. God, you people are fucking idiots.
Well, that was weird. Anyway, second of all, I'm sorry, but I don't get that from his voice at all. Maybe it's because I actually know how to read emotion, and you don't because you're a teenager, but, you know, maybe if the target himself isn't getting triggered, you shouldn't get triggered on the target's behalf.
In the end, it's just bad acting through the whole video. And second, why isn't this actually told to us by you? I don't see why the text over loud AF stock music is needed when we definitely know you have a mic and you can make a video. You're not goddamn Rich Satan. This is just kind of lazy.
First of all, I just want to point out how fucking hilarious it is that you call him out for bad acting right after you deliver your line with the wrong inflection. The line there was supposed to be at the end of your previous point, and you delivered it as though it wasn't at the end of a sentence when it was. Not a big deal, I just kind of found it funny. Oh, and the text thing? That's a reference to Adult Swim. Adult Swim uses bumpers that same way. No, it's not the most unique thing in the world, but unique doesn't equal good, and it serves the purpose just fine. Especially since if you click on the video, you're going to be looking at it first. So when you see that you need to be visually engaged, you'll watch until the visual engagement ends. It's not like he's putting this up in the middle of his commentary without telling his audience or some shit. Oh, and by the way, it takes more work to type out titles and have them on screen for a specific amount of time than it is to just put audio in place. Just throwing that out there. Well, I see the actual integration of the action scenes only lasted for like 3 interjections as usual.
How the heck did I get thrown across the screen by something that doesn't even have limbs?
You severely underestimate my greatest power.
It's something stupid, isn't it?
The power of memes!
So, yes. Those rocks was sharp!
Okay, so going into this review, I think the most important thing to figure out is how you pronounce this name.
Straight remembered. This joke is overdone as hell and I can see it coming from a mile away. Please stop.
Explain. No.
Literally. Why is this joke overdone? Unless you frequent music reviews of this song, which I don't know if you did, because like the hypocrite that you are, you bitch about giving examples, but fail to provide them yourself. And how can it be? This song currently has only been out for around 4-ish months, and at the time of Boon's video, had only been out for a little around 2 months. I have no evidence to believe such is true, so in the end, there you go.
Okay, Jesus in the Count of Monte Cristo, Sereous, are you a dumbass? First of all, song was already out for 2 months, so to assume that no one had reviewed it already is asinine, especially since Needle Drop already reviewed the album in its entirety a full 3 months before I got to this song. And while true, people who don't frequent music reviews probably wouldn't know about that, and most of my audience would be in that camp, not only is this leading into his primary point of the whole commentary, but even I explain in the original video why most people would already know Ray Shremmerd and have been making this joke for 2 years. Pop listeners may remember Ray Shremmerd for No Flex Zone, a song about being yourself where 2 guys who were recently totally broke rapped about all their expensive shit. You might also remember them for No Type, which states that the narrator has no preference, directly followed by outright stating a preference. The song's verses are all about their expensive shit. You didn't even need to go far to know what we were talking about. You just had to watch the oh my god. You didn't even bother watching the original video, did you? This is gonna be a problem, isn't it?
You know the funny meme where the guy says, hey, keep this in mind, it's gonna be important later? Yeah, it's gonna be important later.
Hey, you know how that meme is a meme, and you using it is completely dumb as hell? What? He told us he's going to use a meme as a legit point, not my fault.
Did someone say memes?
There's no meme!
You lied to me, penis sponge!
But yeah, he was saying it's a meme as a piece of humor, and he's using humor while at the same time pointing out that he's going to bring it up later. Also, about the fact that he's going to bring it up later.
Oh, but you know the real annoying thing about this? Even though he's saying it's going to be important later, which is already stupid because that is just a throwaway interjection, in the end, later is like 2 cuts later. Normally, when people think later, they think, like, you know, a big payoff at the end of the video. This is the exact opposite. Good job.
First of all, are you seriously getting onto him for playing a clip and then saying it will be relevant later instead of cutting back to it out of nowhere later in the video? Because that's stupid! I mean, it's almost like he knew that the interjection would be pointless if he didn't throw a joke in there, and he, you know, threw a joke.
He ho motherfucker.
Anyway, on top of that, in the context of this video, that later is actually very fitting. You see, the point where he actually brings up the issue is, no joke, the second to last interjection in the commentary. So, building up towards something near the end? Yeah, I'd say he did that.
Overanalyzing my name is BoonSlayer. Jesus Christ. You do realize that if that was the case, it wouldn't mesh at all with the rest of the song. Most of the verses are either about them or the girl's money, so randomly slipping in that she's cheating on dudes makes absolutely no sense.
Yes, Dick Sponge, I know. That's what I was setting up for. I was stating that these first 2 lines of the song sounded like a completely different song to point out how subtle the brag could have been, by not directly comparing themselves to the Beatles, and instead just making a rock song to prove it. It could have been more interesting. It was also a setup to them switching to the topics I would expect from Ray Shremmerd. I understand why you didn't realize that I was overanalyzing these lines on purpose, or perhaps didn't really care because it's honestly a thing that guys like Rap Critic have done plenty of times before, but it doesn't mean you didn't miss the joke.
Hey, didn't Sereous have an interjection here?
Oh yeah. Wait, weren't you going to—
You'd be surprised, but fucking bubblegum is harder than it sounds.
Then what is the line supposed to be about? Again, you don't explain anything.
It means she's a slut. I mean, if you're too stupid to put together the crowd pleaser would be someone who pleases a crowd, then you're dumb. The reason I made the connection to cheating was because I was purposely linking it to the line with the watermark over it for the purposes of setting up that it initially sounded like the song was going to be more interesting than it was. But you're just being a 13-year-old.
Okay, everyone to the backyard. It's time for the HOH competition.
There's no house, you delusional gamer.
That's Bybird, bitch!
I don't understand how that works, but fuck it.
Why do I even have a screen?
Remember how I said the biggest problem with these videos is the fact he's just making them to be pushed out for that big and ambitious project?
No.
You see, these videos are the definition of rushed. They still have wholly individual flaws, but in the end, they all do stem from being rushed as hell.
Well, that was more random than... We're gonna go with that. I mean, it really sounds like this was supposed to be in your final thoughts instead of plastered onto this interjection, especially since you actually would have already brought up the big project by then. Last 2 interjections in my commentary shouldn't have happened at all. You know, kinda like your whole video.
Surely that first line was not simply a throwaway line. We're just gonna be straight up bragging from this point forward. Oh, I see. Wow.
Okay, first of all, no, that's not a throwaway line. Second of all, no, that's not. That line is supposed to talk about how he's so famous that even all of her friends know him. And that's not me randomly making guesses. That's me making an educated guess based on the rest of the song content. Because admittedly, while the Ray Shremmerd boys aren't exactly Jesus Christ superstar when it comes to their lyrics, they aren't stupid.
I'm just gonna point out that you shouldn't make educated guesses when you show later that you use a site to find the meaning of the lyrics. Speaking of which, that site that you go to has an explanation for the line in question, and it's not that he's super rich and is known by all her friends. I know, I checked. Link in the description.
There's no link in the description. Okay, I know it's annoying when you get onto someone for not citing their sources, but when they say they will do it and do not do it, it's straight up bad. And yeah, I'll admit that maybe once or twice I've forgotten a link, but normally that's a link to the original video, not one of the sources I explicitly state in the video will be in the description. That being said, let's take a look at that line on Genius, shall we? Doesn't appear to be any explanation on the line he's talking about. While true, he completely missed that I was talking about the line with the watermark over it when I was talking about a throwaway line, which I'd like to note there was really no excuse for you doing there, Dick Sponge, since I even said that first line, and I would understand it a bit if you were talking about the crowd pleaser one, but you're not, which leads me back to Sereous again. Considering his explanation was to repeat the words of that line, you should have known the line he was talking about. It was blatantly obvious. If you knew, he should have been talking about a different line, namely the one that I said he should have been talking about, but wasn't. You have failed to correct him. So either you fail at research, or you fail at watching the video.
He's done both already. Why not both?
Yeah, why not both? Isn't there normally a... There you go.
And guess what? It's later. You wanna know why it's later? Because Boon could have easily said that the watermark covered up one of the only Beatles references in the song. Even though there are plenty of Beatles references, they just aren't as well known as the common Beatles references like Yellow Submarine or Let It Be. But he instead goes on a bit of a tangent and doesn't really explain himself that well. He just kinda goes, lol, watermark.
Okay, before we start, that's the wrong line description. Boon was talking about the John Lennon glasses in the Riedel line.
Okay, to quote a prior commentary, you have already fucked yourself. I was talking about the whole song when I said that was the extent to which they compare themselves to the Beatles and how the song didn't have any Beatles references, even though the main ones they use are just not well known. That was where the issue coming back later came up, since that line I was talking about was one of those Beatles references. But please, go ahead and try and defend me when I was flat out wrong. Go ahead.
Alright, this is going to be a long one, so first off, if you want to make a song about getting high and or drugs, you shouldn't make it out like you're making a song specifically for Beatles references. If you want a few Beatles references, put them in and don't call the song Black Beatles.
Except the song's not about getting high. The song's about being rich and famous. You know, kind of like those Beatles guys that we're actually talking about. Kind of like those guys.
Second off, this song is trying to be mostly about Beatles references, then why the hell are they being so obscure about it? Why aren't they referencing Yellow Submarine or Let It Be?
While I do agree that they could have referenced the Beatles more overtly in this song, they are emulating the delivery of specific lines from the Beatles catalog to ingrain the comparison more directly into people's minds, and the instrumental has a bit of a rock motif to it to signify this. The entire chorus is sung like a Beatles song, and I even point out that Sway Lee does a good job with the sung parts. It's not trying to be about Beatles references, it's just trying to be a Beatles song and brag rap at the same time, which I point out would have added subtlety to the brag at the beginning, and I now admit that they actually did hit pretty decently aside from Gucci Mane. So, to answer your question, it's because they didn't feel like they needed to.
And really, your interjection contradicts itself by saying both that the song is about drugs more than Beatles references, and then going on to explain Beatles references which aren't about drugs. So what is your stance on this?
Hey, going back to the whole it's not about drugs thing, when did he say the song was about drugs? The only one bringing up drugs here is you, buddy. You feeling guilty?
Okay, look, I admit it. I'm the one who smuggled the venom toxin from Mexico.
I knew it!
Are you saying Boon is wrong because he didn't get the real premise of the song? Or are you saying he is wrong for not getting the obscure nuances of a Beatles references in the song?
Both. He's saying both. He's saying that at one point I misanalyzed the lyrics, and at another I missed the Beatles references that they were making that showed more than just the surface level knowledge of the band. both of those things are perfectly capable of being true, you
Shh. Save it.
But he's a...
There's like 20 minutes left in the video. You'll have time.
Okay, babe. Okay.
That's gay.
Really gay.
Is that a fucking JoJo reference?
Wait a minute, there's no reason for us to fight.
You ain't got one? Well, I do!
All we need now is a shark for me to jump over. I'm skipping over the part of the interjection where Dick Sponge speeds up my original video because I kind of felt like the joke was dragged out anyway, and he's mostly leading into his final thoughts, so... yeah.
Okay, but in all honesty, there is a really legitimate criticism I need to make here. And it's that you're way too much like everybody else. Like, I'm sorry if you've seen artists, but I've seen this sort of stick before. You just kind of go through the lyrics and that's it. When music reviews right now don't have a lot of 100% original people here, I wouldn't mind you being the guy who's changing stuff up around there. And another big complaint, you know the music, part of the music, and you barely talk about that. The problem with just analyzing the lyrics is sometimes there are plenty of people, especially in the top 40 range, which is the most reviewed of these types of music reviewers. There are plenty of musical artists that don't care as much about the lyrics and just want something to jam to. So unless it's very clear that they're trying to say something more serious, it's kind of useless. So therefore, the actual music should matter just as much as the lyrics.
Another long one out. Goody. One, yeah, that's how music reviews work. You only have 3 things to criticize in a music review. The video, which not all songs have, making it irrelevant. The lyrics, which are what are on display here unless it's dubstep. And finally, the beat, which is, unless it's a solo, is in the background. In the end, lyrics are the things most people look at for music reviews. It's like criticizing the dialogue in a movie. If you have a problem with that, you're dumber than I thought.
Except, he wasn't saying I can't criticize the lyrics. Fuck, he said in this very commentary that the music is just as important as the lyrics. Remember all that stuff I was talking about with how the song musically represents the Beatles too? Yeah, I didn't say any of that in this review. This is the only review where I say nothing explicitly about the music itself and only talk about the lyrical content. Even when I reviewed Starboy, I spent a few seconds talking about the beat work, and that's something I tend to do a good job of talking about, at least from what I can tell. So what he's saying is that I should talk about the music more, not that I shouldn't talk about the lyrics at all.
Finally, nothing about reviews has ever changed since they were only in the newspaper.
Except they have. Yeah, newspaper music reviews didn't really include any jokes or analyze music videos at all. And the audiovisual format gets digested differently. I can play a song, giving you an audible indicator of the sound I'm talking about, something that could not be done through newspapers. Oh, and that's just some of the things the change in medium from a text format to audiovisual format provides. Never mind the implementation of humor that previously wasn't considered, like I already mentioned, or how many different tones reviews take nowadays, because they can be chiefly comedic riffs, or more of a serious, straightforward review of the song that I've done once or twice before, or various degrees in between. While I do agree that I can really only be so different before I stray away from what a music review really is, that doesn't mean there aren't areas that are less explored than others.
I'm not trying to say, you're garbage, you're never ever gonna be able to do these music reviews. I had sex with your mother. But you do need a lot of changing if you want to keep these going. Especially in a type of review genre that is just polluted.
Okay, for real this time, before we move on to the next video, what are you, the connoisseur of music reviews? Can you tell the difference between a Todd in the Shadows and a rap critic?
You seriously never heard of Anthony Fantano, you fucking scrub?
I will destroy the tiny dubstep man.
Ah, fuck.
I thought I was the dubstep guy.
No, you're clearly synth pop.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Does that make me vaporwave then?
No one cares, Dylan!
One of your main flaws is that you act like you're the friggin' god of the CC and talk down to everyone under the guise of out-and-out jerkholery, and rarely a sensual helpful critique.
You know, except for the criticism that I was focusing too much on the lyrics and not enough on the music, you know, those two things that you admitted were both part of reviewing a song, one of which I completely neglected in this review. I mean, fuck, I would continue this, but god damn is this already a fucking chore with just my video.
This commentary has gone long enough.
Well, yeah, it's like 30 minutes long. I mean, Jesus Christ, Boon Cannon 29 was already damn close to feature film length. At this rate, I'll be releasing this thing in theaters.
Then I will destroy.
Hold the fuck up! This is really where you ended the commentary. Don't you want to give your final thoughts?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Actually, I agree with Star Maker on this one. I kind of want to get right into the plot here. I mean, I've literally run out of things to say about Justin at this point, so I may as well just skip the final thoughts this time.
Then let me do it.
Grilby, you're delaying the destruction of my arch nemesis here.
And you're calling me Grilby. What's your fucking point?
Wait, why do you care about any of this? Don't you hate everyone here?
Don't you?
You know what? Good point. Fuck this. I'm out of here.
Look, fine, Superfly, you can give final thoughts, but make it quick.
Ironic that you of all people would say that, but you know what? Sure, whatever. Serious, Justin, I don't really give a fuck how you pronounce the name. Real talk. Seems like for every step forward you take, you also take 2 steps back. Reason the rest of your video isn't getting covered is because you've already proven you can't pay fucking attention to the original video. You've already proven that you're just salty as fuck because of the fact that Dick Sponge has an attitude. Fuck knows what you'll say about me. And you've already proven that you will cover subjects that you know absolutely nothing about without doing research into the subject in question. The reason you're not getting covered in full is because you're too inept to receive it.